Everybody ready? Come on, let's go. The Rick Thorne Show!
Oh, you gotta start. Okay.
Let's go! The Rick Thorne Show! Let's go!
Yo, the man, the myth, the legend. Who made that video? Did you make that, Jeff? I tell you, this legend thing still bothers me. Hey, what's up, dude? This is Rick Thorne. Welcome to my show, The Rick Thorne Show. It shows about having a lot of cool guests on, doing a lot of cool things, inspiring, fun, yada, 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 yada. On this episode, I got a really good friend of mine and a really funny guy and a guy I met on the strip, Anthony Amorello. What are you doing? Comedian.
Yes, sir.
That's you.
That's me.
Yeah, what are you
Thanks
doing?
for having me, man.
Yeah, bro. How you doing?
Appreciate it. I'm good, dude.
Yeah.
This place is sick.
It's pretty cool. This is where legends go
Yeah, clearly.
to die.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I'm here at the beginning of my career.
Yeah. Speaking of, so I met you, you were working at the Comedy Store, which you still do.
Yeah.
How do you get to work at the Comedy Store? How does that work?
How did it?
For anybody, I'm sure a lot of people would be like, I'm going to go be a door guy there.
Everybody has like a different origin story. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It is really weird how like that building finds you in a way. But like, if you were to like put it on paper, like what you would say to like an open mic comedian that shows up at the Comedy Store, you would say, show up on Wednesday nights for the set of the mic, open mic, because if you win that, you get a spot on Potluck to be watched in front of the booker on a real Comedy Store show in front of a live audience. That's what you say. And that is the most direct way of going about getting hired there.
So then what you're saying is you do the open mic, you kill it, you go to the potluck, you're in front of the booker, and then they could say, hey, we like you, do you want to work here?
Right.
So then do you think that...
And that would be usually that they go, hey, we like you, come back and do that again 5 times. You know, like they'll audition you 3-4 times. I had a very different path.
What was it? What was your path?
Luckily for me, unlike 99% of the world during the pandemic, I leveled up, and because everybody left LA. And I was working on this drive-in show at the Magic Castle for Tammy Jo Darren. Shout out Tammy Jo Darren.
Oh, do you do magic too?
No, it was a stand-up show.
Oh, okay, got it.
There's a woman, she produces great shows. Her name's Tammy Jo Darren. I used to work for her, and during the pandemic, she set up these drive-in shows at the Magic Castle in like the parking lot. And she hired me to build the stage, and then I would get like stage time every weekend, and I would have to do like security during the show. And these lineups were insane. It was like Sarah Silverman and Bill Burr, Kevin Nealon, and then like my ass for some reason.
Wow, cool.
And during one of the shows, there was a Comedy Store security guard moonlighting as a security guard for us during the show. So me and him are doing security, right?
Right.
And these like YouTubers, I guess, I don't know, I really never found out who they were, like jumped the fence and they try to like rush the stage. Jesus Trejo was on.
Okay.
And they didn't get anywhere near this fool.
Were you a security guard before that?
I'd done security, you know what I mean? But like,
this was your chance to show your skills.
Man, this was honestly college rugby coming out of me. I buried these kids.
Did you?
And I put this kid into the asphalt, and I drag him over to the fence, and I put him at like a 90-degree angle. Like his spine might as well snapped, and I threw him back over the fence. And I took 2-3 steps away from there. And the guy working from the Comedy Store was like, hey, do you need a job? And I was like, desperately, dog. Because, like, at that point, like, I had nothing going comedy-wise. Like, I was making, like, $200 a week hosting open mics.
Well, wait, let me ask you, how long were you doing comedy up until that point?
6 years, 6 or 7 years.
Got it. And then the pandemic hit, basically.
Yeah, I started in 2014, and so the pandemic hit 2019.
Yeah.
But I didn't stop doing comedy during the pandemic because of those drive-in shows. Like, for 2.5 years, I was just it was fucking every weekend. I had like 4 shows. It was great.
Awesome.
But the guy that was moonlighting security is actually now the GM of the Comedy Store.
Oh,
right?
wild. Wow.
Yeah, that's my boy, Ryan Shattuck. He's also on like Hawaii
Oh,
Five-0.
so he was with you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of acting gigs and
Hell
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, he's cool.
He's a great actor, and like him and I
Shout out to him. Yeah, he's cool.
We grew up like 30 minutes from each other. We never knew each other as kids, but like we're kind of similar people. We understand each other. And he got me the job as a security guard. And they had a rule. I didn't know it when they hired me, but they had a rule that if you were a security guard, a waitress, or a bartender, anything not door guy and or like paid regular famous ass comic, you can't be a comic and do that job. You know what I mean?
So wait, so you couldn't be a security guard and a comic at the Comedy Store?
Because then everybody applying to be a security guard would just be a comic that wants a job at the Comedy Store, and they wouldn't take their job seriously.
So, I never knew that. So wait, let me ask you this. Let me back up a second. Do you think that the percentage of people that do the open mic and do the potluck, they're looking to get a job there? Or do you think
they're looking to become
a door
guy.
The majority of them are, right?
Yeah, I would imagine, or at least get into some form of development. I took the security guard job because, man, give me a toe in the door, I'm going to make it happen.
But then let me ask you this. So then you got hired as a security guard, but you can't be a comic at the Comedy Store and be both.
Right.
But you took it anyways. Was that hard to be like, well, I really want to be on stage though?
Dude, it was the hardest thing. You can there's so many comics you can ask, like Bruce Gray or Kyle Irby or so many people where like there are nights where I was like ready to just like break down, where I'm like watching people live my dream. And at the time, like I said, all these people had left LA. So like I was the only one of 2 security guards at the Comedy Store. And there was only one of us on most nights. And it was a time where like, man, I was getting into fistfights in the middle of Sunset Boulevard at 29 years old, 30 years old.
Oh, you mean because the people coming there, they were acting out?
And I'm not even getting to do comedy, and I'm just like frustrated. And I did it for like a year, a little over a year, and like 3 months.
That's when I must have met you.
Yeah,
when you were the security guard.
Yeah,
but I always thought everybody that worked there was a comic. That they just had different job roles. Like,
yeah,
you do this, but you're because there are some bartenders there that do comedy though.
Those people are like grandfathered in. And,
yeah,
and like
because Lucas does, right?
Lucas does and Merv does.
Yep.
And that's where like Punky was, you know, Punky Johnson. That's where she started
bartending.
Yeah, but nobody has ever done it from security. And what happened was like, I didn't really know that many of the door guys when I got hired as a security guard, because like when I moved to LA, I wasn't like shook, but I was like, oh, this is like good comedy. Like I'm not ready to go to the Comedy Store and show what I have. Like I should go work for a couple of years. But then when I got hired there and I started doing shows with like the door guys and some of the paid regulars, all of them started speaking up for me. That was huge.
Yeah, that's huge.
So like all of them for like a year and a half, they're in this booker's ear. And then on my 30th birthday, I'm hammered, dog. It's my night off. I'm at the Comedy Store. It's my 30th birthday, and Saul Trujillo comes up to me, and he goes, "Hey, you got to go do 5 minutes in the belly room right now." And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Booker wants to watch you tonight. Like this is your audition. You got to go."
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like fucking put both my beers down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like trying to like in 30 seconds from that patio walk to the belly room, figure out what I'm gonna say. How do
were you doing comedy a lot up until then, or was this mostly security?
Yeah, I mean,
but not at the store.
Yeah, not at the store, but like I was doing it every second I wasn't at the store.
Right.
But I went up there and I had a good set. Like it was good, and they auditioned 3 people that night, me being one of them, and they hired the other 2 guys. And the other 2 guys are good comics, and they're both actually already passed at the Comedy Store, and they're great. But it was very clear to me, like, okay, that was their decision. She hasn't even talked to me. She hired them a week, like, went by. So I was about to move to New York. And I was like, I like went up to the booker came up to me and she was like, why do you look so upset? And I was like, well, you passed on me clearly. You hired these 2 other guys. And she goes, look, like, we can't hire you while you're a security guard. You have to quit and leave here for like a month and come back and I'll hire you. And I go, really? And she goes, yeah. And I go, good, I quit. And I just took off my shirt, quit.
So wait, so why would you have to wait a month? Is there just something they made up?
So
like, just
they
make it
can
up?
say that I wasn't a security guard and he, you know what I mean? So they can like, nobody,
her boss.
yeah. So no other comic could be like, hey, he did it. You know what I mean?
Got
Even
it.
though like they can't say that in a sense, but like it was more of a just, yeah, like
Principle thing, like
yeah.
yeah, I got it.
And like it was a leap of faith because I didn't get anything in writing. I just quit and I went back to Worcester and I hung out for like 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, and I flew back with my mom and we walked, like landed, went to my house, showered, went straight to the Comedy Store, had a show that night, and they hired me like on the spot walking in.
So then what was your job then after that? To work
Door guy.
Door guy, got it.
Yeah.
So then did you have, like, you felt like, all right, I'm getting closer.
I
Not closer,
mean,
but like a relief of like, now I'm not looked at as security.
And I don't want to, like, this sounds egotistical in a sense, but, like, you know Frank Castillo?
Yep.
Comedy Central's Roast Battle, great fucking comic, good dude. The night I got hired, and my mom was there, like I said, and Frank Castillo, my mom's a 70-year-old Armenian woman. You know, she goes to church twice a week. She you know, she doesn't get comedy. And she gets comedy, but she doesn't understand making it like a living and whatever. And Frank Castillo like pulled my mom aside and he was like, becoming a door guy at the Comedy Store is like getting accepted to the Ivy Leagues of comedy, like getting accepted to the Yale or the Harvard of comedy. And like, I'm sure it's the same way at the mothership now. I just didn't mean to exclude them, but it is like if the Comedy Store hires you, that is them putting their stamp of like, hey, this guy could be the next.
And I was going to ask you, why is that? Why is that held in such high regard?
I think.
I mean, I kind of know why, but people listening might not. But why do you think it's held like, and that it's such a high regard of like, if you're a door guy, because not every door guy is going to make it big anyways.
No, the majority of them never make it.
Right.
If you look at the list of everyone that's ever been a door guy, you'll probably recognize 10% of the names maybe, and if you know comedy deeply, you get a little bit over that.
It's because of the history of the store.
It's the history of the store.
Yep.
It's
special.
Yeah, it is the place. You know, as far as like development goes, and they like Mitzi Shore, Pauly Shore's mom, the founder of the Comedy Store, like started a comedy store in Westwood. So the younger comics could go develop over there.
Oh, I never knew that. Okay.
Yeah. And like that's what the Belly Room was originally designed for, was to have a place for comics to develop.
They still kind of do that though with some shows up there, don't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They try out all their new shows in the Belly Room.
It's never changed.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point. And it is like they take it so seriously. It is the world's greatest comedy club.
It's pretty awesome.
The lineups you get there on a nightly basis for $25
is phenomenal.
It blows my mind. And you meet people where I go, have you been here before? And they go, no. And I go, where are you from? And they say, LA. And I go, you're 40 years old. You've never been to the Comedy Store? Like, that blows my mind.
Yeah.
But I digress. Being a door guy is just a thing of like, the club is recognizing your talent, the hard work you've put in, you can be a very good comic but a shitty person and they're not going to hire you.
Yeah, it's a vibe.
Because other people are going to be like, nah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, he's a bad vibe.
And not in a way of like, there's no gatekeeping, but it is, it's like.
I get it. Things are about the vibe, dude. Everything is.
It is.
A lot is.
Right. And I don't know, man, like it is, you also, as a door guy, it's not that you just get to do 5-minute sets at the Comedy Store. You're literally watching the best comedians every night for 6 to 8 hours a night. You should be studying it is like going to college, man.
Yeah.
It is if you're trying to be a comic, like seriously, here, the Mothership, I don't think anywhere in New York does it.
What about Chappelle's new place? He's got a new spot in Yellow Springs, I think.
In Ohio, right?
Yeah, he's got. Yeah. I saw a line. I saw someone's performing there, and I saw a lineup. It looks like he had some bands there some nights. It's like, who? It's on his shirt. Adam Ray.
Oh yeah,
Adam Ray's there with Chappelle on one night.
Dr. Phil himself.
Yeah,
dude.
Dr. Phil. Hey, real quick, I want to say something. I met a girl once. I was dating her, and she was from Santa Monica, and I started talking to her. And I said, oh, yeah, I used to live in Orange County. And she goes, where's that at? So for you to say, like, oh, these people from L.A., they've been here. This chick didn't even, she was like, where are you from? I'm from Kansas City originally.
Yeah.
Do you guys have mountains? No. Does it snow there? Yeah. Why does it snow?
Yeah.
This is what I was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? This is what,
people in L.A., like, first of all, like, LA's like so spread out that you really can just like live in a neighborhood and never have to leave, I guess. If you go to high school there and then you get a job at the AutoZone in the neighborhood and you only go to the restaurants in the neighborhood.
Or you live in Burbank and you're like Tarzan, and it's like miles away and you've never been on that side of the valley.
Yeah.
You have no idea. And in my head, I'm like, as a bike rider, we go everywhere.
Right.
So in my head, I'm like, I know where everything is. And, you know, I even know how the roads are over there.
But
drive
also,
so much.
people in California are just such in their own world. Like, if they don't have a reason to know it exists, why would it exist?
It's crazy. But you're from the East Coast. You're from, wait, let me see if I said it. Whistler?
Worcester.
Not Whistler, Worcester.
Worcester, Massachusetts.
How far away is that from Boston?
Good 30 minutes, 35 if you're slow.
Oh, so you're like suburb.
It's the second largest city in New England.
Oh, it is? Okay,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
It's a city. It's not that big. It's 200,000 people, but it's a city.
Boston people are cool. My buddy grew up in Stoughton.
Oh, yeah. That's a suburb.
Pro BMXer legend. He made up the tail whip air. Shout out to Joe Johnson.
Shit.
He did the tail whip air and the double tail whip air.
Massachusetts boys doing it again, baby.
Doing it. Yeah, dude, we went there one time to Boston on tour, and we were out riding. No, actually, we were in Chicago, and I was with my buddy Joe Johnson. I got to tell you a story real quick. Pro BMXer, and we were on the Haro tours. Me, Dennis McCoy, Joe Johnson. We were out riding in Chicago, and we were way down in the hood, and these cops are like, they got on us because we were on these bikes, and they pulled us over, and they were gonna, I don't know, not arrest us, but they were giving us a hard time. And my buddy Joe goes, "Hey man, I'm from Boston," and he goes, "Boston? Say park your car in Harvard Yard." And then Joe goes, "Park your car in Harvard Yard." "Oh, you are from Boston," because he was from Boston, and that got us out of these tickets.
That's so crazy.
It was pretty funny.
That actually makes
Is that like
me
a
mad.
saying they say over there if you're really from Boston?
No, if you're really from Boston and somebody asks you to say park your car in Harvard Yard, you tell them to go fuck yourself.
There you go.
That is like, first of all, you can't park at Harvard Yard. You're going to get a ticket. You're going to get fucking towed. Stop doing this Mark Wahlberg bullshit, you know? It's so weird. People will, if I'm at a bar and they'll be like, "Oh, you're from Massachusetts? Talk like it." And I'm like, "Man, I'm not. I'm talking the way I've always talked." And they go, "No, do the thing." And I go fuck yourself. And they're like, yeah, more. And I'm like, "Oh, you just want me to bully you?" Like, they just, like, I don't know, man. People are obsessed.
People are different over there, though. People are different everywhere. I mean,
no, they're different, but people are just obsessed with the accent for some reason.
You think they blow it out of proportion?
No, they
like that character.
Yeah, they like the character. They want to hear Bill Burr's voice. Is
he from there? Is he from Boston?
Yeah. He's from Canton,
okay,
Massachusetts. But
you do a lot of shows with him at the store.
I wouldn't say with him. He has been on lineups that I've been on.
Well, yeah.
That's
what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah.
But he is genuinely one of the nicest guys. Like, I wouldn't dare say we were friends. We've had some conversations, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that guy's such a superstar. He shouldn't. He's
pretty cool though. I met him. He's pretty. You know. But me being from the Midwest, I kind of get along with everybody. I mean, like understanding where people are from. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like gonna be like weird if you got the East Coast vibe.
My mom walked right, and again, they're both from Massachusetts, but my mom walked right up to him. She's never met Bill Burr. He's standing in the hallway of the Comedy Store at the bottom of the stairs of the OR, waiting to go on stage. and he's there by himself, and I'm like showing my mom around the building, and she goes, "Hey, is that Bill Burr?" And I go, "Yeah." And before I can say anything else, she is walking over to him, walks right up to him, and is like, "Bill Burr, you're such a great comic." Blah, blah, blah. And he talked to my mom for like 5-6 minutes until they were literally calling his name on stage.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
It's like, he doesn't have to do that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But that being said, like, we're on some shows together, but they don't have like too many Boston comics over there. So it's nice. Like him, me, Jay Larson, couple other, maybe one or two other people, but it's a nice pepper in.
That's
all
good.
The West Coast vibe.
So you started comedy on the East Coast.
Yeah, I started in Worcester and Boston in 2014.
What's it like comedy different wise? I've never done comedy over there on the East Coast.
Man, if I could do it over, I would have stayed in Boston for 2 or 3 more years. Like
Why is that?
Be like those years where I came here and I was like, "Oh, I'm not ready," and that sucked because I'm not ready and I'm already here. So now I have to get stage time that isn't in front of people that I really want to see me yet.
Got it.
So now I'm doing these shit open mics, and you know what I mean? You're not getting a lot out of it. You're becoming a worse comic to it.
Open mics are horrible, bro. I'm listen, I get it. You get up there, you get it out, but sometimes you could question the fact even if you're funny. Because you're just doing it in front of comics. They're looking at their phone. They're just waiting to go up.
And you did that in L.A. where they're really nice here, dog. Like you do.
Is it worse? And the open mics are worse?
My favorite open mic in the country is still going on Wednesday nights in Charlestown, Massachusetts. Tavern at the End of the World.
Why, they talk shit on you? Talk like mess with you?
They don't, dog. You go to a bar in Boston in the middle of January when the Bruins or the Celtics are on TV, and you try to say some shit into a microphone and it's not funny, they're going to let you know. They are going to let you know quickly. You are going to, you think you've, thought about, hey, am I even a good comic? I've thought about, am I going to get to my truck?
Oh, shit. Okay.
They are just.
I mean, I know that I'm funny, but sometimes we do open mics and you're just like, you know what I mean? It's like silent and you're just like, what's going on?
You're always going to get ego checked because there's always going to be a point where you get on a roll of good shows and you're like, I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. And then, as always, you're going to get a fucking roll of bad shows and you're like, wow, I know nothing.
Well, it's like, yeah, absolutely. But it's also like bike riding. It's not like I go somewhere at a skate park and all the bikers are just like instant bros, or you do a trick and someone's like, yeah, bro, sick. It's like people are quiet, they're competitive. Yeah, so I'm kind of used to that.
Open mics,
I'm kind of used to that vibe.
But that's the other thing is open mics in LA are mostly the audience is just other comics waiting to go up. In Boston, they have real audiences because there's nothing else to do.
Let me ask you this.
To the bar.
Sorry to cut you off. The audience, I think, at the Comedy Store, in my opinion, is out of towners a lot. It sells itself. It's not the locals in the hills coming down. Those are.
I would say, 50-50.
You think?
Some nights are definitely heavier. Like weekend nights are definitely heavy tourist crowds.
I feel like a lot. I mean, I could be wrong. You work there, so you know. But
they didn't start advertising. And I'm talking about not one commercial, not one billboard, not one social media ad. They have profiles, but they're not boosting posts or anything. They haven't done one lick of advertising until this year.
What, on Instagram or something?
On anything. In the
Saved
world.
Saved a lot of money on advertising.
No newspaper, no nut. That's how great of a comedy club
No, it is. It is. I'm not. I don't question that at all. It's badass. I'm saying the audience difference. What I'm getting at is the audience difference to Boston or Worcester.
Oh yeah,
It's more all locals. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So the Comedy Store is maybe a mix of locals, but I saw a lot of out-of-towners.
It's going to be like that in any major city, though. If you...
Yeah. New York's that way for sure.
New York.
Absolutely.
Austin, as far as, major comedy cities, when it's an attraction, that's what the tourists... That's part of the reason why people go to that city.
Exactly.
You go to a show in Boston, you go to a show in Charlestown, those, that's just because people live there.
Well, what I'm getting at is that what you can joke about in different places is different. It's kind of like different areas, not what you can joke about. You know, like LA, sometimes everyone's like, maybe, you know, like my vision of LA is everyone's from, a lot of people are from somewhere else and they all want to say and do the right thing. And so they may think it's funny, but they won't laugh and they're not as raw. And I feel like once you get out of LA, is Boston more kind of like raw with the comedy and like kind of more like a, because you guys are kind of like more like come off as like more realer, like a, you know, we don't take any shit kind of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally. It makes sense. I think LA gets a bad rap. First of all, you're right in the sense that like you can say whatever the fuck you want.
And Boston, like fuck it.
And
yeah.
like, but it also gets to a point, and like all love Boston. That's my city. Go Celtics, fucking Celtics in 7. But it got to a point like I was opening for Adam Ray at Laugh Boston, and it got to the point that like sometimes like all you have to do is go, hey, how'd you guys meet? And they go, we met at Chili's. And you go, gay, and the whole crowd erupts. And it's like, okay, now you're just laughing at anything that somebody else might find offensive, which also seems easy. But
some of that crowd work's kind of corny nowadays.
I think crowd
Where
work.
do you work? Oh, you're a waiter, huh? It's just like where's your material at?
I think crowd work had its peak, and now the people doing it are the best ones at it.
No, they are, but some people aren't though. Some people they're just like, so where'd you guys meet? Oh, you guys met 3 years ago. It's not even funny.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just like, where's your act? Like, what's your stick? What are you doing?
There's a handful of people, Ian Bagg, Rick Ingram, Adam Ray, that
could kill it.
Tony Hinchcliffe.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those guys can go up for an hour truly with no material and just like do banger crowd work.
Rick Ingram's is pretty good too.
Rick Ingram, if you don't like follow comedy, if you don't, and like even if you follow comedy, you might not know Rick Ingram. No offense, Rick, but he might be one of the funniest men to ever live. Truly check him out. Chris Rock came to the Comedy Store every night for like a month or 2 months and watched like every.
He toured with him. He toured with him, didn't he?
Because Chris went around for 2 months, checked everybody out, said that's the funniest motherfucker here.
He's so good.
Every show Chris does now, he opens worldwide.
Wow.
Crazy. Rick Ingram, check it out. But he does all crowd work.
Yeah.
It's truly some of the most incredible electric comedy I've ever seen.
Do you like crowd work?
I do. It's something I work on just because, like, man, comedy, and as a blue-collar guy, like, I think of it like you have a tool belt. Crowd work's a tool. I'm not saying
don't do it. I'm just saying some of it. You come out like, hey, what's up? You come out and you get them hyped up.
At the store, though, because, like, what door guys get to do at the Comedy Store is your perk is you get to open the show. Which is like you get to go on the greatest stages in front of the greatest audiences, on the greatest lineups in the world, and that is great. But what sucks is when you go first on a comedy show, you have to like bring energy. You have to be like, give it up for your servers. And like, if you have a 5-minute set, you're really doing 3 minutes, and 2 minutes of it is just being like, welcome.
Hyping them up. I can't hear you. Come on, make some noise.
I have the blessing and the curse of an unbelievable amount of energy at all points in time. So like if I'm opening the show, there's no excuse. So
yeah, like, you set the bar.
Yeah, let's do it.
Bring the energy. You have to, bro. You're on stage. You can do something. I used to say this: if you're on stage and doing nothing, get the fuck off stage.
Yeah, well,
that's kind of my way of approaching things.
I mean, do your required amount of time or till whenever they put on the light, and then get the fuck off stage if you're doing poorly.
No, but I'm saying if you're not bringing the heat, you shouldn't be on the stage. That's my way of thinking.
Oh yeah. You
know what I mean though? Like like with everything, writing, music, whatever. Like if you're not jamming.
Absolutely, and especially if you're like opening a show, like that dictates how the show goes a lot of the time. Like I said, I work there almost every night of my life. Like I've seen plenty of times where the cold open, the door guy that goes up first, or even like maybe they do okay and the person after them just eats one, just has an off night, thinks about killing themselves on the way home type deal. You know what I mean?
They bombed basically.
Yeah, the bomb. You had a bad day, and
we all bombed, dude. We've all bombed.
Everybody does it,
Yeah.
but that will put an audience, like if it happens too early up top, it will make an audience be like, oh, did I waste my money being here?
Yeah.
And then it makes them tighten up and they start judging a little bit harder, and then they start looking around and being like, well, he didn't laugh at that. I don't have to laugh at that. And well, she laughed at that, and I hate her fucking dress. And like, it just like, you have to come out. You have to get them in a good place and a good, you don't really want too much polarizing material right up top. Like, obviously some people can do it, and it like, if it's a tool in your belt, that's great.
Yeah.
But like, I try to just be as inclusive as I can be, as far as like,
yeah, you're welcoming. You get them
jokes.
hyped up, and you're funny all in one, so it works.
And none of
That
my
works.
jokes are like, I'm not pushing the fucking edge, man. You know, I don't got anything fucking fancy to say. Listen, America, I don't have anything to say. If you ever hear me on a podcast, at a bar,
Hey, wait.
at the bus stop,
You're saying a lot of dope shit right now on this podcast. Is this an exception?
just know
this
don't-
is an exception.
don't live your life by it.
Yeah.
These are just experiences I've had, and this is how I live my life.
Yeah, but
no, I know nothing in this world.
No, dude, it's cool you went for it. Not a lot of people do. I'm from the Midwest. So to pack up and say, okay, I'm going to move out west. I'm going to do my thing. I mean, I'm going to chase this dream, what I like to do. That's a certain individual. Not everybody's like that.
Oh, yeah.
99.999% of these people in this world don't do that. So
Oh, yeah.
I think that's cool shit that you were able to like say, okay, and then you're able to work your way up to be at the store, which is not an easy task in its own as well. So those are huge accomplishments.
Thank
And
you.
then then I want to mention this: you have your own show in the Belly Room, and I did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
hard
hell
work,
yeah, dude.
hard work and comedy. So
Stay right.
and you still got that show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just did one Cinco de Mayo. Got another one coming up in June. It's usually like the first
June what?
first Monday of the month. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, the first Monday of June.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The reason
yeah.
I'm asking is we might want to air this before. Jeff, could we air that before? So we could promote it
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
show, because
That'd be great.
you know, when you date things in the show and people tune in right away and watch our show, you want them to say yeah.
Yeah.
So we could
great.
do you
That
next
Celtics
week then,
thing is
right?
gonna fucking bomb then.
No, come on. No, we're gonna do this next week, right, Jeff? Okay, your show air next week. We're not ending the
that's plenty of
podcast or
time.
anything, but when is the hardworking? It's called Hardworking Comedy in the Belly Room at the Comedy Store.
It's the first Monday of the month, so whatever that is, I think it might be the 5th or 6th. I'm not.
What is that, Jeff? It's like the first Monday of the month might be June 2nd.
June 2nd. Cool. Yeah. So I was wrong. It's June 2nd.
I gotta come. I gotta come. I need. I've been wanting to hang out at the store more, just to hang out, because Danny Lucas.
Yeah.
From the Zeros, my homie. Shout out to Danny.
Absolute legend.
I
dude.
met a lot of comics through him, and
Yeah.
and it's been really cool. And a lot of comics kind of knew what I did anyway, so it made it kind of meeting people a lot easier, But it is hard when you come from sports and music and stuff and say, I want to do comedy, and then people go, oh, he wants to do comedy.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
really?
it
You want to do
kinda-
comedy? But
comedy's
I've learned a
always-
lot.
Yeah. Oh, dog.
No, but you said earlier, even just by watching, I sit up there in the booth with Danny, or
yeah.
I watch, I absorb all of it. You know what I mean?
First and foremost, I gotta shout out Danny Lucas as well. That man, first when he gives his stamp of approval on somebody, that's how you know they're good shit. Like,
Yeah.
that man has not missed on one target where he's been like, that guy's good, that guy sucks. So as soon as he introduced me to you, it wasn't a question. That being said, that man loves titties.
Danny?
Danny.
I never
yeah.
knew that.
Yeah, no. Danny, him and I, we got some stories.
Where did that come from?
That when I was a security guard, because they got the Pendry across the street from the Comedy Store. It's
Yeah,
this
people
huge
just-
hotel.
They just built it.
Yeah,
That's where the old House of Blues used to be.
And I don't know why these people don't shut their shades, but once a couple times a month, you'll get some titties up there.
Oh, you know why they don't shut it? Because they're trying to they're just.
Now, you definitely get some OnlyFans people up there, but then you just have some stupid people. But every single time it had happened, Danny would appear and he'd be like, boobs. And
Dang,
that's
dude, I
awesome,
got to
man.
hang out there more. What's going on?
Yeah. But
Yeah, no. So the fact that you moved though, and the fact that you took it, were you ever questioning what am I doing?
yeah,
At some
I'm
point.
still questioning it, dog. I think first of all, like I started paving roads when I was like 13 years old.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, and everybody, like my great grandfather started a company. He had 9 kids. They worked for that company. They all kind of split off into whatever. My grandfather had 4 kids. They all worked. My dad had his own company. Like, we're a family of construction workers. So for me to leave that in general, the amount of people that were like, dude, what are you, stupid?
Yeah, we're here making good money doing.
You have a living forever here. You know what I mean? Why would you leave that? And it's nothing against them. And I there's so many people in my life that I love that do that and have that mentality. But I just knew that I didn't. That
it wasn't for you.
It couldn't be me.
I'm dealing with that right now.
Yeah.
No, with my kid, my daughter. She wants to move, and at first I was against it, and she wants to move East Coast because one of her friends moved there, and they have like it's upstate Maryland.
All right.
So it's not
cold.
Yeah, it's but she wants to move there, and she's already like she said, I'm moving there. We got an apartment lined up. We got jobs lined up. In a few months, my daughter's going to be gone. Dang. But at first, I was really sad and fighting it. And then I was like, nah, I want you to live your life and do your thing. You need to find what's good for you. You're young. You need to be responsible. I'll be here for you. But it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
So I know what you're saying. Like I did it to my mom. I said, I got to leave Kansas City, and so now I know what it feels like. So I know I could relate to what you're saying. You love the people that are there, but it's not for you.
Yeah. And to be fair, like it wasn't like my parents saying that to me. It was like random truck drivers saying this to me. So it was people that I was like, man, I'm already outliving you. I'm not letting your small dream stop my dream.
Oh, yeah, they got the binders
You know,
on, yeah.
But like as far as my family went, like I'm really lucky because like comics in general historically have been known to come up in like turmoil and whatever. And trust me, I had a fair share of I told you I started paving roads at 13. There's some bad times. But that being said, So
wait, how was that legal? You just did it because you were able to do it with your family, and they just said, get out there?
Dog, when I was 13, I looked 25. You know what I mean? Yeah, like there's like I had braces, but
so you're like 18 right now.
Yeah. I'm Benjamin Buttons, dude. I hit puberty in the womb, man. I
you came out with a beard.
Truly, one day, like I was 13 years old, and my dad walked into the living room one day, and he just saw how big I was, and he goes, "Do you have a job?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "You're coming with me tomorrow." And that was that.
Okay.
But like that being said, like my dad is amazing. He is the only person that from the beginning when I was like, oh, I want to try stand-up comedy was like, all right, like, let's do this.
Cool.
Like that being said, so like I've never had to like fight family really moving down here. My mom didn't understand it, but she didn't stop me either.
Yeah, you had the support. Yeah, that's good.
She ran away to California when she was a kid. So, like...
So she gets it.
Yeah. And, like, my dad worked so hard. My grandfather worked so hard. His dad worked so hard. So, eventually, somebody in our family could take an opportunity like this.
Yeah, but I think by you seeing that and realizing that and starting work at a young age is the reason why you're able to do what you're doing, because you know what hard work is. You've seen it. You've been around it. You know what, even though you're chasing a different dream,
right,
you're not giving up as easy as what most people might if they hadn't seen what hard work is. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
That's what it sounds
like my brother, I think my older brother is a man of few words. Like maybe said about 500 words to me in a year as a kid.
Wow.
He's about 6 years older than me. He's genius, fucking great guy, awesome dude. He just doesn't like to talk, and I think they made him write a paper when he went back to school about what he did over the summer, and he said, 1 day in hell, and that's what paving is. Like, comedy will never, ever be as bad as paving roads to me. Yeah. They're like, and whatever your paving roads is, like, there has to be something for you that make you go after a dream, but, like, man, like, you know what it's like to wheelbarrow 600 tons of asphalt at 14 years old, you know?
Yeah.
You know what it's like to jackhammer for 15 hours a day with a bunch of, we'll call them scallywags, but they were crack addicts and like gypsies that were working on the crew. Like, all that stuff at the end of the day, it was like, hey, well, it can't be worse than that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I may be broke, but I'm whatever. You
You're
gotta,
happier.
You gotta take the shot. And like, you're right. I don't think most people in America leave their hometown.
No, they don't.
And it's sad. All of my friends are very happy people. I'm very happy. But like, I wish some of them took a couple swings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, you know, it's life. Life is so short. I mean, it just reminds me a lot of like, you know, just chasing your dreams. And if you want to be successful in this game out here in LA, you just gotta like, you gotta be really tough in the sense of like not just not to give up.
Yeah,
and just to stay positive, man.
This city, it's weird, man. The city gives you what you need when you need it. When I moved out here, I told my dad, I was like, give me 5 years for me to have something for me to hang my hat on before I like give up and move back. And at 4.5 years, I got that like pandemic gig into the Comedy Store. And then I was like, all right, man, give me another 2 years to like get like a comic job here. And at 1.5 years, I got another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you get to your brink, you know what I mean? That's when the good stuff happens.
Yeah.
But like whatever you believe in, I believe in God. Whatever you believe in, they're pushing you.
Yeah.
If it is such a big dream to you, how much do you want it, man? You know what I mean? And
I've said that to kids before too. It's like you'll get a little bit of love, like you'll be grinding nothing, and then like you got a free bike, and then you're like, oh okay, and you got hyped on that, and then nothing for a while, and then you just hang on a little bit longer, and then boom, something else happened. I saw so many dudes not hang on and could have made it
absolutely
further than I made it, and I was like, but I held on. I kept going through it, and that's what you got to do. Especially at the store, especially at the comedy. It's like, don't you think comedy's like a not a slow process, but it's a process. You got to be on it, even though you're not making money, and you just got to keep going, keep going.
Oh, it's an absolute process, and that's kind of what I was saying about like starting in LA or starting in New York or Austin at this point. Like, if I started next to Neil Brennan, I never would have stuck with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going up in an open mic after the guy that created the Chappelle Show. Yeah, that's going to crush your fucking ego, man.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta, like, I don't know, Boston was great for that as far as, like, I just got to, like, develop more because it takes so long. I think Joe Rogan said it takes, like, 7 years to figure out who you are on stage and another 3 to 5 to perfect it after that. And it's like, you know, loosely, that's right. And like some of the funniest people I've ever met in my life have given up on comedy already. Some of the least funny people I've ever met in my life are the most funny people or famous people in the world.
That's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird. Yeah, it's weird.
It's crazy.
George Carlin did that too, though. I saw a documentary where he like went to some club and for a year developed more. And I forgot what club it was, but it wasn't like a big. It might have been a big, well-known club. I'm not sure, but I was like, stuck with me is like developing. You can always get better. Like I say this, I say like, okay, you can go 8 feet on a bike. You can go 9, you go 10, go 11. You could always be better. Comedy seems like it's just, you could tell a joke one way and then layer it different the next night and then layer it different again the next night and just keep layering it and make it more. You know what I mean?
I also think comedy, the difference between stars that have a moment and you know, I don't want to talk poorly about anybody, but say like Dane Cook was so hot 2004, 5, 6,
What
7.
happened? What happened with that, you think?
This is what I'm getting to.
Okay.
But then you have guys like Bill Burr, who have been doing. He is a legend. He is
like 30 years
arguably
or
a
some
top 5, in my opinion, greatest comic out there.
100%. He's one of my favorites.
You know,
Absolutely.
like,
yes.
And the difference between those kind of is one man evolved. As he evolved as a person, his comedy evolved. One man, no matter how old he got, was still doing act outs and like whatever. And like
Didn't evolve.
if your comedy doesn't evolve, you're speaking from an inauthentic point. And one thing about comedy is like you have to know what you're talking about. You have to like really a crowd can sniff out fake stuff.
Yeah, what about, so you got a very good point with that, and they can. And also, too, stealing other people's material.
Yeah, it was.
I used to be, I'm just going to say this, I used to be before I was into comedy, I was always into comedy. I grew up with Rich Pryor, John Belushi, George Carlin. It was always on my list of things that I wanted to do. I made a list. These are the things I want to do in my life. And comedy was one. I want to be a comedian. But I had to do it in steps, things I wanted to do in life. And I just remember watching Dennis Leary. I'm like, oh, Dennis Leary's great. Man, this guy's funny. And then I got into Bill Hicks, and I was like, hold on a second. Did he steal his shit?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel that when I watch that.
Fun
and
fact.
I know no one told me. I was just like, this seems weird to me. Like, so there's like a rule in comedy. You don't do that shit.
No, you certainly don't do that shit.
Am I right about that one? Is there similarities right there? Or what? The whole smoking thing and the whole, it was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird to me.
I don't know for sure. What I do know is Dennis Leary is from Worcester, Massachusetts.
Well, he said that they shared jokes, and I'm like, no comedian's sharing jokes, bro.
I mean,
you're gonna share a joke with another comedian?
You might write a joke and be like, "Hey, man, I actually think this works better for you."
I just felt like it was so similar. I don't know.
But you don't then continue to keep doing the joke. You know what
I just felt
mean?
like it was super similar. I don't know. Maybe it's just.
Yeah, I mean,
He's from your hometown?
Yeah, and he sucks. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like, don't talk shit about the locals, bro.
No.
I feel like he bit his
fuck him,
shit
man.
big time, dude.
Yeah, I don't
know.
I just always think like he always claimed he was from Boston and he's not. He's from Worcester. Like he's always like.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's on some. I'm sure he's on some stupid firefighter show somewhere, dude. But like, truly, like. Fucking.
Yeah, I used to, but before I was into comedy and before I started to study it, and before I wasn't just like, watching it, I started to look deeper into these comedians, and I'd study them all the time, and then I just started to see similarities, and then I caught on to the whole fact that like, you don't bite someone else's shit.
No, absolutely not, and like, it is funny because like you can see, I won't start flames here, but like I could name comics that have the same jokes in specials. And it's almost
You mean they saw it on a special and then a different comedian do it on a show?
I think they hired a writer and a writer got lazy and picked it up off a meme or something. But they gave it to that guy. That guy said, okay, and they all did the same thing.
Oh, so you're saying someone that did the special got something from online?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. A lot of people have writers, huh?
I mean, some people do. I think.
You think Bill Burr does?
No,
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does. I've never seen him with writers. I would be very shocked to find that out.
You think Dan Cook has writers?
No, I don't. And what I said about Dane earlier is I just meant like he was clearly hot for a second.
No, I know you weren't talking shit.
Yeah,
I'm just curious about the writing thing because you said that. Like, do you think
some people that are like, first of all, like comics that have been doing it for like 50 years, like Argus Hamilton, you know what I mean? Like,
he's awesome.
Yeah, that guy rips, but like 78 years old, he needs somebody to help him out just to know what the fuck's going on in the world.
And not like some 1930s shit. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And then you have people like Kevin Hart, man, where like that guy, he's got so much going on. You think he can write out all this? He put out like 3 specials in like 4 years
and 10 movies and a tour and this, that, yeah.
Like,
and another commercial for a credit card. I get it.
Yeah. And like, I don't knock anybody that has writers. But stealing jokes straight up is just like, what are you doing? Like
there was that one comedian that did that for a while. Didn't Joe Rogan call him out on stage or something?
Yeah, Carlos Mencia.
Yeah,
he did that at the Comedy Store.
Oh, he did years ago, right?
Yeah. Videos are still on YouTube, I think. It's very funny. But
I like Joe for that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that you call shit out.
Instead
Instead of just being touche about it.
Joe does an incredible amount of things for comedy in a sense of just like right is right and wrong is wrong and this like especially at the Comedy Store, like he's the one that really brought that place back, man. And
that's what he started was comedy, right? He started out with hosting.
He
kind of both at the same time, probably. They're so similar in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their
Well,
jokes
no,
is one
he,
thing, but
he was already doing comedy before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like if you do comedy and
because
then
he
you
started doing comedy when he was back east.
okay, so if you do comedy and then you host a TV show, it's not like it's oh my god, it's like oh that kind of makes sense. Like hosting,
Yeah.
you're still in front of people.
We
you're
were
still-
talking about that earlier. I think musicians and like athletes, when they turn to comedy and comics are like, man, fuck this guy. It kind of feels like, oh, this is your last ditch effort, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
yeah.
kind of failed at that other shit, and now you think what we do is easy.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I didn't think because people would
You're
think
not in that.
No, but people would think that when I started a band and then they kept putting this category out, I'd be like, "Fuck you! I do everything. You could do more than one thing. You accept these other people do more than one thing." But before we get out of here, I think I have a thought about this. Let me know what you think. If you start off as a rock star and you go to movies, people go cool.
Yeah.
Right? If you start out as an actor and you go to music, people go, boo, you're an actor.
Yeah.
So if you make it as a rock star, you could do all the other things and come down. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you could do comedy if you're a rock star. That's a certain kind of dude.
No.
It's a certain kind of thing.
They don't have the ego.
Yeah. I seen like T.I. do stand up.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
and I was
fuck
like,
yeah, dude.
I mean, you know,
No, it's like one of the worst things I've ever.
It's
He's
like-
got booed off of arena stages.
it was, I was just like,
But
I saw him at the Bourbon
He's
Room.
also coming from a world where he is a mega superstar, and that
The ego feeds that, and you think you're going to get the
everything
same reaction.
Yeah, everything he does is right and says is right because in that world it is, unless you're talking about the law.
But comedy
But-
doesn't. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he also he just had that way about him in the beginning, and none of his people told him like, hey, comics don't play like that. Like, you really have to have jokes. Like, you can't just go up there and smile and you know.
Yeah.
It's harder. That being said, you can never go from comedian to rock star.
No, but at the same time, Steve Martin started all that, I think, in the sense of like with the music and the comedy together. Wasn't he kind of a first, or it was probably people before him? But that's my first one that I saw.
Yeah,
You could do music, but it's got to be a joke song.
Yeah, and musical comedy
You know what I mean?
can be left in the dumpster, if you ask me. But I meant, like, you will never get a guy that goes from doing the Comedy Store to being in a band like Van Halen.
No,
you know what
no.
I mean? They
But
don't.
Dennis Leary
they're
did
not
do-
cool enough, dude. They're not cool enough.
They're not. And Dennis Leary did do the song "I'm an Asshole" because he stole Bill Hicks' material.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna
That's
get out of here, dude. It's been awesome. Anthony Amorello, this camera right here. Let them know
Hell yeah.
your Instagram, when your show's coming up, and how to follow you and what you got going on.
Amorello on Instagram. That's ANT_AMORELLO on Instagram. I got a monthly show like we were talking about at the Comedy Store, Hard Working Comedy, June 2nd, first Monday of the month. Come by, guys. If you're ever in LA and you just want to come by the Comedy Store, ask for me. I'll show you around. We'll have some fun. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, and your show that he does the first of every month is in the Belly Room because there's 3 rooms.
Yes,
people,
sir.
These people might not know, but it's the Belly Room. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Just walk up to the patio, ask for me. I'll bring you to the show June 2nd. We'll see you there.
Let's go, dude. And hey, tell your friends about the show. Thanks for watching. Props to you, Anthony. Keep being funny. Keep being
Appreciate
awesome.
you, dog.
Don't ever give up and stay rad.
Everybody ready? Come on, let's go. The Rick Thorne Show! Let's go! The Rick Thorne Show!